Fake fiction. Addendum. Okay. Whoops. So I was listening to the fake fiction podcast I made for today. Oops, hold on. This will be a one cigarette production. So I was listening to it, and I realized at the very end of it, I started telling you the lighter side of the bit of shush, and I actually began barely. I mentioned the change my diet, and I wanted to talk about that just briefly because it's influencing my life, and if if anybody can be helped by anything, I will include it, even if it's not pertinent to the thing. Well, at my discretion, of course. So, I cut out red meat. I talked about the cows and what they feed them, and the grass and pesticides and all that crap ruining everything. And I've been thinking of coming off dairy, but I don't know. I'm gonna consider other options, but I just don't have as much. But I still have dairy. But since I've gone pescatarian, so I fish, because fatty fish is one of the good things for cancer, and for colorectal cancer, and cruciferous vegetables, and I've already talked about trying to stay stress free, which is impossible. Today I was supposed to start meditation and yoga. I'm not as familiar with yoga, but I was just bending around. And then I would like to learn Tai Chi, but the meditation I'm no stranger to, so hopefully I'll be able to pick it up pretty quickly. But I need to have these moments where I can center myself, because it's fucking stress from the time I wake up to the time I fall asleep, and then wake up from that and then fall back asleep later. So the fatty fishes are on those cruciferous vegetables, trying to stay stress-free, exercise more. I do need to do that a little bit. I have been running the same weight within 2 or 3 pounds for over a year now. And I was 10 pounds more today. Ugh. I don't know what the hell happened. But I don't know, maybe it has something to do with alignment of what's going on inside of me, because it is it's like a fair, there's little tiptoeing around. There's a Ferris wheel rolling around. The tilt-a-whirl is in there, all little teeny tiny in there. And ever since I had changed my diet, and so it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how that progresses. I've been training for the protein and blood sugar my whole life, because I was told I was hypoglycemic when I was in elementary, fourth grade. That's what it was. Fifth grade. Yeah. Because all the kids hated me because I was able to have a snack in the middle of the afternoon. But so I've been training myself for the blood sugar thing for a while, because my dad and all of his brothers and sisters, it's like they all got the same things: the heart disease and diabetes. So I've always tried to keep a watch on the diet, because even though it's the opposite, they say it's like a stepping stone to diabetes to be hypoglycemic. Hyperglycemic is, you get diabetes. But, my blood sugar level will drop. And, of course, I had to have protein levels. But I've done really well, especially, since being with Scott. So I'm doing good with that. And I haven't had any low blood sugar attacks or anything like that since I've changed the diet. But the one thing that has happened that I find very interesting, now, everybody knows, I think you've got to know, if you have ever been around people who've had it, or you've had it yourself, what cruciferous vegetables can do to you. Your cabbage, your broccoli, your Brussels sprouts, and I don't know what else actually is cruciferous. I'm not even sure. I've never really looked up the word. I don't know the root word, so I'm thinking it has to do with leafy, but I would have to look that up to be sure. And but they're doing some jobs in there, and I think they're running there. But I'm going to tell you that for about 2, maybe 3 years, I didn't fart. And I started wondering if something was wrong. And, well, I don't know, but that they're running around in there working their magic, and I don't know if they're loosening up whatever was, holding them back or not, but, it's just, they don't even have enough time to spread them out, and it'll come out in one long stream. So that's back. So it's kind of, relieves my mind, but then, also, it's not always pleasant for me or Scott. So I feel sorry for him, but I don't know if he's even noticed that. He never said anything about me not farting, but I guess that's back. So I'm glad I never complained about that, but yeah, so my diet is doing good. Except I gained 10. How do you gain 10 pounds? By cutting out meat and some sugar. Okay, it wasn't a lot of sugar, but you got to do things that, okay, I have more than once lost over 70 pounds, more than one time, 2 times. And if I know anything, it's that you don't do everything, cut yourself out all at once. 1 week, cut out this and that. Next week, cut out this and that until, you've gotten used to it. But if you cut it all out, you are going to be hurting. It's like going to jail and getting your little, tray, like, well, they're much thicker than in I don't know why the hell they have to be that thick. I don't know, maybe it has something to do with the violence of the trays, but, it's this big clunky thing. It's like it was made by Fisher Price. Your comparison between Fisher Price and real, telephones and stuff. And you've got your little sections, and so you've got about a 1.5 by 1.5 inch square with some liquidy chipped beef or something in there, and I don't even remember what else. But anyway, so suddenly you're without all of that, and then they don't give you certain types of medications. So I was also going through withdrawals. So, it's everything, at once. It was like, God, this is just horrible. But, I never drove again. And it's, easy to gradually ease yourself into it, because if you just add a little bit more and a little bit more, suddenly you're doing a lot without realizing it, because you've adapted a little bit at a time. So that's my little tip for the day for people who need to make dietary or, any kind of type of exercise or whatever, changes. Don't expect it to happen at once. If you fail one day, get right back up and do it again. Get right back up that afternoon and do it again. Don't use it as an excuse to stop, and don't, using it as a stepping stone to failure, or see it that way, because nobody's perfect. And if anybody says they are, they're lying. So you shouldn't trust them anyway, because boy, they must be so full of themselves, to think they're actually, perfect. And why aren't you perfect? And, shocked that, somebody made a mistake, and oh my God, it's a computer. How can it make a mistake? Well, because humans built it. So yeah, I'm trying to make changes every day and keep up with all of this, because the podcast part, writing and going into Second Life were have been for years two of my biggest distractions from the stress of the world. Well, the one that attacks us anyway, and the two of us, I mean, and it was just. Without thinking about it, it was almost like a natural progression to move with my writing into this, because technically I do still have to write it down, type it into the computer like a caveman. But, for putting it out there, this is going to be a major way to go. Yeah. And I'm even putting these on my written word blog with my stories. There's a lot of them on there. SheridanDlow.com. It's got, ClumsyHippo.com for this, my podcast, for Clumsy Hippo Studio. And then Sheridan D. Low is what I've always used for my, my writing. my writing, and also actually I think my cancer blog is on there. Boy, I'll let that go. But I've been talking about it. It's so much easier. And my cigarette's done, and so am I. This addendum will be posted now. I just posted Fake Fiction 18 with a bit of shush, and now I will be gone till Wednesday. See you then. End of Addendum.